Hello and welcome to Danger Recall, the show where we talk about our show, the Danger Club podcast. So, episode 6.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
Yes.
Which is called I Predict a Riot, which is a reference to a song by a band called the Kaiser Chiefs. Am I right, Dan?
Yes, the Kaiser Chiefs. I think it's their first song. I was always disappointed by that one because it's not a pun. It's just the name of a song. But it does get a lot down there. Weirdly, sometimes when you have episode titles that are just names from other stuff, you get loads of extra downloads. Like one of our most downloaded episodes is the one that's just called Step Up, and that's just people. I think that's just people trying to find the movie Step Up, and they just download that one.
Amazing.
But yeah, this one gets good downloads as well. That's a great song. Great song.
Yeah, it was released on the 9th of July 2018 with music from Kevin MacLeod, Sword Coast Soundscapes, and Ross Budgeon again.
A shout out to Sword Coast Soundscapes. If you are doing a show yourselves, what they are is it's a channel on YouTube, and it's just got atmospheric music. So if you don't want to like pay for a Sirenscape account or anything, or the paid ones like that, they're just YouTube videos, and it'll give you like 2 hours of just like town noise or spooky caves or something like that. And that we sort of stopped using them after a while because we found other sources for them, and because converting a 2-hour audio track into what we use it for takes a bit of time. But if you're running a home game, they're really useful. It's a great little channel to use.
They are. And as another link, I use them for my Fighting Fantasy Tuesday. That is the soundtrack I use for those. And also, if you look on there, they do campaign-specific soundscapes. So have a check. They might actually have I think it's just D&D, but because it's but you know, check it out. Check it out.
James, have you got a summary for episode 6 of the Danger Club podcast?
Well, do you know what? I do have a summary for this episode. It's quite a confusing episode because we basically, the Danger Club hear this riot, and immediately, as is becoming sort of de facto behavior, run straight towards it. And we find out that the villagers have had things stolen from them, and they immediately suspect the carnival and the carnival folk of doing this. So there's a big fight sort of brewing, and the immediate response, which is again becoming a sort of standard early Danger Club tactic by most of the Danger Club, is to give everyone money. So it's, how much do you lose? Well, I lost about 4 gold pieces. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. I'm just going to hand you some money. Then we've got, I won't, because obviously you'll cover it in the thing, but this continues for quite a while in a hilarious fashion of just take the money. It's very toy. And then there's sort of quite a lot of, it's just sort of like we're barging about really. So we sort of like, we've had a few episodes of following a path, and then we just sort of barge about for a bit until eventually we're still looking for Kima through an army, wherever we may go. And eventually it occurs to Velda to go and speak to our friend Fardine the Panotti, who we last saw deeply insulted by all of us. I believe Caragor shouting horrible things after him as he wanders off because whatever he did. And we go and see him, at which point it looks like the team are going to get ambushed. Which also Scott noted, going like, I knew it. Did he? Apparently he suspected the Panotti of everything, but I think he's very much had his Columbo hat on. But I'll sort of leave it there because we'll do you can do the summary. But it's a rambunctious episode.
Still in the same place, still sitting in my living room, couple of microphones. Sounds pretty good on this one. I really like it. I enjoyed listening back to it. I don't know what you thought, team.
Oh, it's funny.
I like this one. This one's chaotic, but with purpose. Like it kind of goes off on tangents, but it is still broadly taking things in the right direction. It's not just kind of lashing out in all sorts of directions, even if one of them is completely like a cul-de-sac that you then back out of again. The entire sequence in the tavern with the Alexander and his sausage
stealing.
Yeah. Going back to the episode title, Kaiser Chiefs, I Predict a Riot. Would you consider the Kaiser Chiefs as indie landfill? And if so, Dan, would you please explain what indie landfill means?
So indie landfill is a term from the sort of early to mid 2000s when guitar bands became massively prevalent, kind of in the wake of the Strokes and then the Libertines over here. That everyone needed a band called The Something that had a bunch of people with asymmetrical haircuts and guitars singing about, nothing really. And it became like... it started off as this incredibly exciting thing. The Libertines and the Strokes are incredibly exciting bands. And then it gradually became a thing where everyone was doing it. And you ended up with this term called indie landfill, which was if you're putting on a festival in like 2004 and if you're staging V Festival and you need something that goes on in the middle of the festival, sort of before your headliner but after the cheap acts you put on early on, it's like, I'll just chuck some indie landfill in there, and it's just, you pad it out, just put the Fratellis in, they'll come up and do their put the chuck the Kooks in there. The Kooks are like the archetypal indie landfill band, and it's this kind of non-offensive, unmemorable. If you'd been to any shop in the UK during the mid-2000s, that's what you would have heard playing on the radio. It is that kind of style of music. I think
Am I right in saying, just before you go into that point,
sure.
Dan, because isn't it as well, they call it indie landfill because at the time it was kind of where MySpace and streaming was just about to kick off, but it hadn't really. So people were still buying CDs. CDs were going down in price because people weren't buying music. So everyone was rushing out and buying CDs. But then, of course, when the streaming and MP3 took over, then all of those CDs got chucked away.
Right.
So it was the biggest kind of like in history. Everyone bought loads of CD singles and loads of CD albums, but then chucked them away very quickly. By 2007, we'd got rid of them because we all had iPods, and we just got rid of all our CDs. So indie landfill, meaning that we polluted our lands with CDs that we don't use anymore.
I have so much landfill indie under my sofa at the moment because like that era coincides with when I was leaving university and like having my first job, but still living at home. So having just an astonishing amount of disposable income because I wasn't saving for anything, and I just had money, and so I would go to Virgin Megastore, back when there was a Virgin Megastore, like every Friday, and just buy everything in the news section, and and I was still getting CDs. So now, and I still have them because I just can't throw them away, because what happens if my computer explodes and the cloud gets deleted and I lose all my music somehow? So under my sofa in storage boxes, I just have loads and loads and loads of music from the mid-2000s, most of which is entirely forgettable. I got a Glas Vegas album. Remember Glas Vegas?
Get rid of it.
No.
Get rid of it. Do you know what I mean? Get rid of good shoes. Just get rid of it. Get rid of the twang. We don't need it. Get rid of hard-fi.
Pigeon detectives.
Get rid of
There was so much. Do you know, I remember feeling conflicted because a band that really, really helped get a live music and get live bands back in the spotlight, The Darkness. Because they were actually, they were kind of an AC/DC tribute band, but before then, it was the mainstream charts were very heavily dominated by electronica dance. That was the big thing. You had all the superstar DJs and all that kind of stuff. And then The Darkness came along, just doing a traditional sort of guitar album, and it really helped. But my God,
the Darkness have aged better. Darkness have aged better than a lot of like more legit bands at the time. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, and I totally agree. Like I regarded at the time, a lot of it was just beige. And I still stand by that. I was like, no, I think they're really cool. They've got something to say. I was like, nah, mate. Nah, I'll stick with Led Zepp.
Get on the Discord and tell us what your favourite indie landfill band was. Yeah,
this is going to be like... This is going to be the episode where we constantly give you things to look up. Like, go and look up. There's a great song by a comedian called Mitch Ben called Everyone Sounds Like Coldplay Now, about how every band sounds the same. And it's amazing. It's a wonderful tune.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
All right, here we go. We start off with some warm-ups. And Ross does a bunch of warm-ups from the film Anchorman. If you've never seen Anchorman, it's a Will Ferrell movie, also starring Steve Carell. And who's the guy who plays Ant-Man?
Paul Rudd.
Ant-Man. Paul Rudd. And there's
Ant-Man, sorry.
Yeah, Anchorman. And there's another guy in it as well. I can't remember his name, but he's really funny. He stars in The Office as well, the US Office, as Todd Packer. I can't remember the actor's name, but they're really funny for some very funny film, and we do the warm-ups from that. So we shout out the music. We also shout out Forbidden Planet, who have put up some of our posters, and we shout Orbital Comics, and we just want to shout them out again. So thank you very much.
God, I hope they're making it through this
sort of stuff. Yeah, man.
Love those stores.
All the comic shops that are out there that are just struggling right now because we order something online.
Yeah.
Go out there and do it today. Go and buy some dice or something, anything.
But not from Amazon. Order it from those shops.
Yeah, well, it's true. I ordered the Slither. So we're recording the Slithering at the moment on the main show. And I always like to have a hard copy of the module guide if we're doing something like that. And I ordered it from Leisure Games because they'd sorted us out with our stuff for free RPG Day. So I was like, I'm going to order it direct from them. It arrived quicker than if I'd arrived it from Amazon. It was in perfect condition. Like, order from your local shop. You'll get it so much quicker. Don't order RPG products from Amazon. There's just no point. They'll arrive so late. What are you guys' favourite?
Just support those little ones. Yeah, sorry.
What are you guys' favourite vocal warm-ups then?
Let's not get into that. We haven't got time. We did too much of a deep dive on indie landfill.
Oh, no, exactly. Yeah, this will be a separate sort of voice podcast we might do, but yeah,
we'll do a voice class next week.
We'll do an actor's studio.
Yeah, I like a little bit of sonaring and also cleaning your teeth with your tongue.
I stole that one from you, James. I used to be good at it. Now I just drink coffee and eat chocolate brownies.
Who's hosting this show?
We're taking over.
The DCP takeover.
Yeah, right.
Let's crack on.
All right, so we run towards the fight. Kemoth and Unami is mentioned in Dan's intro. That's the last time I think he gives us the real names. He says Kemoth and Unami. It's good to know this. How many times have we been told this and we still get it wrong? We mention Pacific Rim, which is a film with Idris Elba, and it's a really fun movie actually. The first one, Pacific Rim,
it is fun. It is fun. It's so stupid. It's just over the top.
It's just bonkers. Charlie Day's in it as well from It's Always Sunny. He's really good in it. The Danger Club started giving out gold pieces. We talked about that. We also workshopped the name Danger Club to a couple of people. We sort of go, we've got a few names. What do you think? We reference Give Peace a Chance, which is a song by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Brilliant song, actually. Love that song. Do you like that song?
Great tune.
Yeah, great tune.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, not worth the death of the Beatles for that relationship.
No,
but, no.
And I suspect, I mean, it's very generous to say that it's by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. I think it was John. But who knows? Maybe she
was wailing in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Yoko Ono is an artist in her own right, man. She's got some good music herself, and some of her artwork is fantastic. She's amazing for what she does for this world. I just want to say that. And there is a massive argument towards the fact that she was not the death of the Beatles. She gets blamed for that so much, but it is not true. All right, let's get over it.
Tweet us, Yoko.
Do tweet us, Yoko. That would be great. Merry Christmas, Yoko.
Smash cut to
gold
Colin's relationship with Yoko Ono and the splitting up of the Danger Club. So
yeah, right. Yeah. Shania's gold piece. I mentioned that Shania is like the Oprah of this world. That is a reference to, I think there was one show where Oprah had a guest, and the guest was like really run down, like didn't have much money and stuff. And she goes, "Do you know what? Here's a car for you," and gives her a car. But then she turns around to the audience and she says, "And look under your seats," and everyone starts pulling out a bunch of car keys from under their seats, the whole audience, and she's like, "And there's one for you and one for you," and it's amazing. Like, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to do. I mean, to be in that position where you can give your fans and your friends a car like that is just so amazing. So big up Oprah. Tweet us, Oprah. I think it was fantastic. A lot of people go, "Oh my God, Oprah, that was a horrible moment. I hated that." I thought it was kind of cool. It's very what's the word?
Philanthropic.
Yes, philanthropic. Thank you. Yes,
you've missed what happens before you guys give out gold to these people. That you in Club Star, you make it worse before you make it better. With the bit where you're trying to negotiate with I can't remember his name, but the guy the ringleader who's been robbed, and he's talking about how basically he can't feed his family this week because he hasn't made he's lost a gold piece, and that's his wages for the whole week gone. and Caragor's just like, "You make gold piece a week?" It's just like, oh, all right.
Oh yeah,
it's like, my God,
that's this kind of thing all over, because Velda never indulges in it. Velda's very much the sort of straight sort of course, the sort of normal course, but you do find this is a repeating pattern in the Danger Club of giveth and taketh away. Like, people are very quick to be like, "Yeah, I'm going to do something really nice," and then literally in the next breath do something really horrible to someone else, and then just square it with their conscience. It was funny listening to it again, just being like, "Oh, it's okay, we'll just chuck money at it." It's like,
You understand why people in fantasy worlds must hate adventurers. How like this group are just like this group of incredibly rich, just people who don't think the law applies to them, just roll into town and just cause chaos.
All right, we talk about high fives and mic technique again. Colin, it's his first time where he's like, come on, guys, stop high fiving.
Did you just refer to yourself in the third person there, Cole?
No. No, Colin didn't do that.
Dan liked that very much.
Let's not get into that. That's so weird. We start calling someone oily. We start running off doing the skulky song here. Skulky, skulky, skulky. Around 30 minutes. That's really funny. We have a reference to Wombles around 37. Anyone? James, would you like to describe what the Wombles were?
I will describe the Wombles because this is me who did this reference, and the Wombles were a very popular children's TV series in the 70s. They continue to be rerun in the 80s in the UK, and it was very charming, physical sort of stop motion puppetry of these little things. They looked like ginger moles, but they were humanized, so they'd all sort of wear little jackets and little hats and stuff like that. And they collected rubbish on Wimbledon Common, and then which is a sort of a borough in London, and they'd reuse it. They'd make houses out of it, and they'd sort of, it was like a recycling program, but it was very charming.
It was our version of Captain Planet.
Just for the, it was a very quaint British version of Captain Planet where we have these little rats going around picking up rubbish going, oh yes, of course, yes, lovely.
Rats now,
just for those people who wouldn't know, can you describe what a common is?
Yes, so a common is like I'm trying to think of the American term for it, but it's basically like a shared space. So it is somewhere where it's actually a very, very ancient term going right back, but the common was common ground. So it was somewhere that wasn't built upon. And in Parks and Rec, I'm sure Parks and Recreation ground, that kind of stuff. So it's somewhere that in a housing sort of area, there's lots of housing, and there's a
communal ground that's not really owned by anyone. You can just everyone
hang out there, because let's face it, living in a city is hard enough without seeing some green.
It's like a posh name for a small field.
So technically, the Wombles have no right to be living there.
Yeah,
we're learning a lot about you, Dan, aren't we? As a little interesting fact, London is one of the greenest cities in the world because the Victorians, when they expanded the city, really this was one of their core policies, was to make lots of green spaces for people to go and enjoy in industrial Britain, which of course was very heavily built up. And so yeah, we do. London has a very, very high proportion of commons and parks and things like that. There are lots.
See, this is what I like about this show, right? Danger Recall. We're learning things. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
If you look at the map of London, there's loads of green, and it's.
I know. There's loads of green spaces. I didn't know why though. That's quite good to know.
On the other side of it, did you know that more of England's land is covered by golf courses than is covered by houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the statistic that said, I think, okay, all right, whatever your politics is, a lot of people think that there's too many people in our country that are not from this country. I tend to disagree with this myself, and I read a statistic that said only 4% of land in Britain is actually built upon. Okay, the rest of it isn't. And I'm not saying we should build on it and we should put up houses. That's not the argument I'm talking about. I'm just saying it's only 4%. It's good to know these statistics, isn't it, when you have an argument about something? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Let's call the whole thing off.
I like that we've gone down this route in an episode which is about stealing someone's sausage.
And I don't know, this is a fairly good link into sort of perhaps misplaced philanthropic ways of trying to assuage the poor. But a little fun fact for you, Dangerlings, if you want to look up how much of the land in England or the country you live in is owned by 1% of the population, you'll be horrified. I'm not going to tell you, but you look it up. Just how much of this country is owned by 1% of the population, and America, and I'm sure countries around the world. It is staggering, and it will surprise you.
It's slightly skewed in any country where you have a queen.
And we're not saying anything, we're just saying it's good for people to know these things, educate yourself on these things, and you can make an informed opinion on them. We're not trying to push a political agenda either way. It's just really good to know these things. Anyway, so
tweet us the queen.
I think that's the second time we've asked the Queen to tweet us. And she might do it one day. Who knows? Fardeen is the one we need to go and see, apparently. That's what we've surmised from all this gold giving and insulting the local people and sausage stealing. 39, we asked for Gary's real name. We intimidate a guy by stealing his sausage. I love the fact that he just slides his plate over and then walks away.
Surrenders. There's something I quite like about this, and it comes up in the podcast and in our social games as well, is that it's something I love about role-playing games, is that we're obsessed with food in it. Is that we love descriptions of food, and we love ordering food and eating food, and that like there's always, and everyone's always just like, you never buy a breakfast, you ask, what is the breakfast? What's a breakfast? What we do, you know? And we've had entire games off air where like it's just been a waiter trying to take an order from everyone as you try and do it. But like, what are some of your favorite things? Can anyone remember any of their favorite things that they've eaten in this game? Like some of the really evocative meals that are
mate, we're going to stick to the episodes.
Come on.
Digression, Dan.
You're talking, but this is not your show, man. Stop asking the questions, all right? Dan, you might get a chance to. Yeah, right.
It's lunchtime. You've just eaten a sandwich, Dan. We've watched you eat a sandwich that your wife bought you.
I'm eating it while we talk.
Oh, God,
I can me hungrier. I want to talk about sausage.
Shania eats this sausage. Well, she kind of smushes it into
a sausage now.
Right. Right. We get another gold piece from Fulton again. He gives him a gold piece. We all argue over who killed the dragon. Let's be clear. M killed the dragon. Yeah. Let's just be clear on that, Dangerling.
The point is made that Fulton did do the vast majority of damage, which is true.
Well, let's the first kill. Let's just leave it at that. All right.
That's not what the spreadsheet says, James. The spreadsheet very clearly says M.
Thank you, Dan. All right, I'm back on your team. The Danger Quellers. We get the Danger Quellers. That's another name being workshopped at the moment. We have the first kick in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, kicking the door in Benevic's Tavern. We make a reference to Benadryl, which is a cold medicine here in the UK. Around 47 minutes. Benadryl, it's kind of like you have a bit of paracetamol and some stuff to make your nose run, to clear up your sinuses. We meet Michael at 53 minutes, which is the young lad whose knees go the other way like a horse. Very important because he comes up later on. And they leave it tonight with a fight because we go to meet Fardeen.
There's a great accidental foreshadowing thing in when talking to Michael. Somebody, I think it's Caragor, says, "Can I call you Big Mike?"
Oh, it's me. Is
it you? Yeah. Which is of course ends up being a character. Like I would be astonished if April listened to that episode and came up with that. I think it was just a name that she thought of. But yeah, Big Mike becomes a character later on. I really like Vilda makes a joke about makes his best foot forward joke, which that's Vilda being a heel. That's what Vilda does. And it's sort of fine. But then Fulton makes one behind his back, behind the kid's back after he's walked off, which I think is even worse.
Oh, it's so much worse. It's so much worse because it's sort of like my delivery was such that he was straddling the middle ground of like maybe he was unintentional or maybe it wasn't. I mean, I think he's an intelligent guy. I think he probably did that intentionally, but you're not so sure. I mean, Fulton clearly just having been like, no, he's a good lad. Yeah, he's good. Yeah. I completely forgot about all of that.
Really fun episode to listen to. Listen back, it was really good. Yeah, and the fact that we're just about to get into this fight with Fardeen is fantastic.
I miss Fardeen so much. I forgot how much fun he is to do. The voice and the character, and just the fact that he's kind of definitely the victim of you guys, but kind of a bastard himself as well. It's that you got that perfect sort of layers of it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Fardeen appeared later as a villain. I mean, we give him plenty of sort of hatred for the Danger Club by the time we leave. We never really patch things up that well with him. And I was surprised again listening back to these episodes, just to the vehemence of how people turn on him, like, especially again, as I was saying, like the two sides of like, oh, I'm going to be your best bud, and I can't remember what Caragor talks to him about, but then when he doesn't get the response he wants, literally just goes on the tirade about what a pathetic. It's just like, wow.
I don't know if we'll ever get there, but there is an adventure module at higher levels for Pathfinder, where you return to the Umbra Carnival and you meet a load of the characters from it. So who knows? Maybe our paths will take us back there one day.
Level 15.
I'd love to do that. That'd be great. I love the Umbra Carnival. I love all the sounds that I get to use and just like all the things. I can't wait till we get to in a couple of episodes where we go to the Skulks cave as well. That was a really good episode to edit. So I'm looking forward to hearing that.
I believe, if memory serves, it is the next episode that we actually go to the Skulks cave.
Episode 7 might be where we go there, yeah, and it's great because Dan had to just like make it all up as he went along. So, thank you very much for listening. Thank you to my guests, James Lockhart.
Hello, it's been a pleasure.
And Dan Thompson.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for being our patrons.
Yeah, thank you for being our patrons. Go and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't yet. I mean, if you're on the Patreon, you probably would have subscribed to the podcast so far. Go and subscribe on everything, though. Do you know what I mean? Help us out. Go and subscribe on YouTube. Go and subscribe on everything. Go and tell your friends. Tweet us. Get on Facebook. Get on the Discord. Go and chat to other people. Tell them how much you loved or what you liked about this show. Tell us. We're going to let you know when to listen to episode 7 and 8 so you can jump in and give us some questions on those. James, do you want to tell them about your Twitch shows as well?
Yeah, sure. So I run a Twitch show at twitch.tv/Foxy_Lockhart. And in fact, Foxy Lockhart, you can find anything on me, Instagram, Twitter, and the like. And Tuesday nights we play Fighting Fantasy live. I play Fighting Fantasy live, so you get to pick the adventure. And the very popular Thursday coffee mornings, musical coffee mornings, where you get to pick
Thursday coffee mornings are great. And also, Dan, do you want to tell us about Dangerous Wednesdays? We probably know about this already, but tell us about it.
If you're on the Adventurers Pack feed, if you're on the Patreon feed, then you'll be getting the audio of Dangerous Wednesdays every week. But if you want to see the video version, if you want to see it live, tune in 6 p.m. UK time, twitch.tv/Danger Club podcast. It is hosted by James. I am always there. Usually we have other members of the Danger Club on and we talk about recent episodes. We talk about gaming. We talk about whatever we want. So join us there, 6 p.m. UK time, and you can hear it all live, or just wait and it'll pop up in your podcast feed a little bit later on. Probably without as much rambling as there is in the live version.
Yeah, right. There you go. Danger Club giving you value. Go and give us the review. We love you. This has been Danger Record.
Steal a sausage.
Oh, nice one, boys.
That was lovely.